I want to introduce Mr. Randy Mauldin with Scalehound AI.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Randy Mauldin. I am the founder of Scalehound AI, and we empower small businesses to use AI. We move them from AI confusion to AI execution using the AI they already own. What's your biggest time suck? Where are you spending time every day where you would rather not? A lot of people spend time in the email box, 3 hours. We can, using the AI you already own, take 3 hours and turn it into 15 minutes. How many emails did you have on Monday when you got back from the long weekend? 50? 100? 500? Right? And I did a class Monday night. Not the best thing to do on a Monday night is to have a presentation right after Thanksgiving weekend. But we had people in that room that were working their email, and based on what we showed them with the AI they already own, they were able to process their inbox within 1 or 2 minutes after looking at what we showed them how to do that. And just imagine your office, the people you have working for you, trying to get the work done, looking at their productivity and their frustration to meet the needs of the organization, and they already have the tools sitting on their desktop right now, and AI can give them what they need. Using the AI that they already have, you're able to get your time back so you can move from AI confusion to AI execution. Most businesses own AI, but you don't use it. Who has Microsoft 365, Outlook? Do you use Copilot? Who has Google Workspace? Do you use Gemini? Okay, you're paying for this AI. And these larger companies, these corporations are injecting AI into these platforms. Why would you use these platforms versus creating something ChatGPT? The reason is security. When you upload information into ChatGPT, it goes to the bigger world. Anyone who knows how to prompt for that information can find it. You're uploading financial documents to do a quick financial analysis. You're uploading customer data with customer information, PII. It's now been compromised. When you use Microsoft 365, it's secure. It's within the Microsoft tenant, and it is secure. How did I learn this? In May of this year, I went up to Minnesota to teach procurement people how to use AI. And I had this wonderful idea. I'm going to show them how to use ChatGPT and all this wonderful things. None of them could use it because it's not secure. However, Microsoft M365 is secure, so I learned about Copilot. And Copilot is just as capable as ChatGPT. In fact, ChatGPT is inside Copilot. And when you come to our AI in a day, that's what we show you. We show you where that stuff is so you can use it. Why would you want to learn this? Think about getting your time back. And we have $100 an hour just to make it simple math. But based on what we teach folks, they gain 3 hours a week back. And then you start to do the math. That's $15,600 in productivity gained. As a CEO, as a producer, as an employee, what would you do with an extra 3 hours? And that's on the light side. We took an RFP, a 40-hour process, a week-long process, and turned it into 1 hour. Now that procurement professional has to figure out what am I going to do the other 39 hours. Now they get to negotiate with suppliers for better deals. They get to talk to customers about what they really need to understand the requirements so then they can go to market. We did the entire process, 40 hours to 1 hour. So just imagine the productivity gains that you get back. My background, I was in the service for 20 years, enlisted way back when in 1989. It's a while ago. And went through the service. You see the picture of me and my brother at the Marine Corps Ball in Okinawa. I was an embassy guard in Santiago, Chile, where I met Colin Powell. He was a Secretary of State, Commander-in-Chief, Joint Chiefs of Staff, and then I became an officer, went through an officer program. That's me and I think it was Croatia when I was a young lieutenant. Then I was on deployment, and my last tour was in Marine Corps software legacy systems. That's when I started to understand software and how to buy it. And there's a lot of solutions running around looking for problems. A lot of software developers saying, hey, I'm going to solve your problem. It's like, I didn't know I had a problem. Well, don't worry. I'm going to solve it for you. And they tell them about their problems. And what we're doing and why we're different is that everything matters. I earned my doctorate during the Marine Corps, finished my dissertation on a ship going overseas. And the whole point of that long document and dissertation was that people make systems work. Systems don't make people work. When does a drill bit deliver value? When you buy it at the store or when you drill a hole? We hear a lot of buzz about AI, all the things that it can do and everything it can happen. But when does it really deliver value? Everyone's investing in the infrastructure. Everyone's talking about the power required to run AI and all these wonderful models that can solve the world's problems, but they're missing the point. Productivity gains is the whole of AI. That's when you see real productivity, when your team uses this. You can 10x your team, 10x your company overnight when you engage your employees to use this technology to do more work in less time. So you're more productive, not using as much time, and your people are happier. Okay. Again, every second counts, every resource counts. Same principle, Scalehound AI. What does Scalehound stand for? Scale stands for state the problem, collect the data, assess the AI platform, launch the prompt building process, execute and refine. And you follow that process and you focus on one problem at a time, not the entire problem set, one problem at a time. And once you have a clear problem statement, you have clear data to solve that problem or not, either way. Then you look at the AI platform you need to solve that problem. And they're interchangeable. If you have a clear problem, clear data, you can use the AI that you need. And there's a lot of AI out there. But as we mentioned, you own a lot of it right now. What we do is we design AI-powered workflows using the tools you already own. No new software, no compliance risk, and a proven framework, scale. Follow that framework. Does this make sense? How we make money. We start with AI in a day, which is our customer journey. AI in a day, they come to a seminar, 2-hour seminar. We show them, or should I say, we reveal to them the AI they already own. They bring their computers, they learn what they're going to do, they execute in that class, and from that, we then move into a conversation with the company on how we can bring this to their entire company. Then we engage with them as a fractional CHOW, fractional chief AI officer, where we become a strategic part of their team so that as AI continues to evolve, they have an AI strategy that aligns with their business strategy, and that avoids the shiny object syndrome. How many of us have purchased AI tools that we're not using right now because something better came along, right? So you want to evaluate this as this technology is evolving. Where we are now, we established a company in July of this year. I've been studying AI for the last 3 years, started to learn how to apply it to procurement, supply chain, and then just realized there's a bigger opportunity because people just aren't looking at what they already own. And we come in to do that. Early stage growth, we get revenue from our workshops, and several proposals are out there. We're waiting for that first proposal to hit to get those clients started. And what's been working, the hybrid workshops, AI in a day. Go in, we show people, reveal to people what they already own. And what our current obstacles are looking at ideal decision makers. Who's really the decision maker? Is it the CEO or is it the business office manager? Who's really the decision maker? Clarifying our target profile, scaling awareness and education. What I'm asking for today is introductions to local business groups, opportunities for speaking opportunities, and co-host AI in a day. And with that, I look forward to your questions.
All right, that's a great thing. I can definitely agree on the one prompt at a time. I found that out doing these slides. I'm like, tell it I want it to do this, and it doesn't do anything I want. And then I said, okay, I'm going to start. I want this to go to the bottom. And started working through it. So that was a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my one comment would be on your triangle. I'd put your workshops at the bottom.
Okay.
Because that's kind of like a reverse funnel.
Bigger funnel.
Right. So those are going to be where you'll get most people that'll come in. And then, because I use that same strategy, I do workshops. We do things to help people come in.
Okay.
And then once you have them come in, then they'll move into the next phase, and then ultimately you want to bring them on as client.
Right.
That's your pinnacle of where you want to be.
Correct.
Okay, Sean?
Thank you very much for your service.
No, appreciate it. Absolutely.
Amazing. That's why we are here today. Without you, we would have not been here, most likely. A lot of things are happening. This is fantastic. I attend a lot of master classes. There are about a dozen of them. I will tell you who they are. They are teaching, coaching the coaches.
Okay.
You have it here. Okay. One of the best one is Dr. John Asraf.
Okay.
Outstanding. Exactly what you're talking about. He's working on it. He's creating a company. He's amazing, out of this world. I'm not kidding. He's working on neural networking. Later, so I want to spend some time with you to help you out on that. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Next. Come on, nobody has any questions?
Thanks for the presentation. Appreciate it. If you can kind of drill down a little bit more as to what the product does. I know you mentioned you're targeting SMBs that are using Microsoft 365. To me, that's a little broad, but I use 365 as well. And perhaps a restaurant owner might use 365. You know, I'm not in the hospitality industry. So if you can kind of drill down what your product does.
So the product is a service. It's an education service to enable the people to leverage the AI they already own. So it's like, that's what we do. We expose them to it. And what we've learned by just showing them how to use the tools, they gain the productivity. So it's an education service on how to use AI, and then we go into a consulting role. So I'm not quite sure when you mean drill down on your product, you mean product target market or?
So for me, I'm using Microsoft 365, which I do. I have a SaaS company.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to figure out if I were to introduce this in my company, how are we going to be productive? And how do you help us be more optimal?
So daily productivity, most people, it all starts with the inbox. Once the inbox, we build a control tower. So what we're learning is step one is an assessment when we work specifically with a company on a consulting gig. Step one is an assessment of their current infrastructure. Do they have the correct version of Copilot? Because there's 3 different versions. Is their structure set up correctly to optimize Copilot based on naming conventions? Are their teams set up correctly within the organization? Do they have the right workflows? Do they understand that? Is their security set up correctly? Do they even have an AI policy? You may have shadow AI going on inside your company where people are using AI without your permission, or you don't know what they're using it for, so they're exposing your company to risk. So that's step one, that assessment. Step two, we teach a desktop control tower. Where at the desktop level, the productivity level, we show them how to use AI in their daily functions. Starts with the inbox. From there, it usually goes, an email comes in, sets an appointment with a client or a customer. We have a Teams meeting that records that conversation, creates a transcript and notes. From that Teams meeting, we create tasks that go into the applications, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or data, depending upon what the actual problem is, and then it branches from there. When you build Copilot correctly within your organization, it's all seamless. You can be in Outlook and find a spreadsheet that you need to send to a customer, and it finds it automatically. You don't have to go find the spreadsheet, download it, look at it, analyze it. Okay, this is what I want it to do. You go to Outlook, Copilot, open it up, say, I need you to look at spreadsheet XYZ. Tell me what the projections are for the 4th quarter. It says, okay, done. Here you go. You want me to insert it in your email? Yes, done. So imagine, find it, download it, open it, analyze it. Even if it just took that much time to do it, instead you go to Outlook, you open up Copilot, say, find the spreadsheet, analyze it, give me the answer, and insert it in the email. You gain productivity. And you start to gain back time. Again, 3 hours a week minimum when you start. But is your company set up correctly? Most companies we found, and we're talking large companies, we go in to do Copilot. This even happened yesterday. Hey, we're going to do Copilot. Use this prompt on your email, because he was a busy COO. He's like, okay, I'm going to use this thing. Oh, it says I don't have access. Oh, you don't have the right version of Copilot. Your company hasn't enabled this for you. So even though you may have Copilot, you may not have the correct version. Even if you have the correct version, you may not be set up structurally to optimize that experience. Does that make sense?
Just really quick, thank you for everything you've done, your service. I was Peace Corps when you joined the military, so I appreciate that. But the prompt engineering piece is what's missing. I think people are lost with that. There's a huge gap between what AI does versus prompt engineering. So I'm just going to throw that out there, that if you understand prompt engineering, AI is a whole welcoming world. If you're not familiar with it, I think you get confused and say, oh my gosh, it's going to steal my job, because there's so much confirmation bias that AI is a bad thing, and that's going to be a little bit of a leap, but I think this is fantastic. Can I just ask how Hound came into it? How did you add Hound to Scale?
Sounded cool.
Okay, I love it too. It's very detective-like. Okay.
Well, think about it, hound sniff out the value, that kind of thing. But to respond for the prompt engineering, for those that may not know, the AI platforms have gotten better at helping you develop prompts. Inside Copilot 365, it has a prompt coach, where you can very plain language say, I want you to tell me how to create a prompt to solve world hunger. It will write a prompt for you, a better engineered prompt. So that's where people get stuck on prompt engineering. No longer required. If you understand what you want, the results you want, the AI will tell you how to prompt it to get the result you're trying to achieve. And that's, again, that's part of the exposure, the reveal when we go through AI in a day.
Right here. What are the noticeable differences you've seen between Copilot and Gemini in their ecosystems?
I mainly focus on Microsoft 365 because of security. And what I've noticed is Microsoft, number one, Microsoft, 80% of businesses are on Microsoft. They have Microsoft. So they already own a majority of the structure or the systems that people are using every day. And they're injecting this AI into those platforms. So that's already there. Security is the other reason I like Microsoft 365. Even though Google says they're secure, their business model is selling data. So even though you're using their platform, they're using your data to understand how to sell more data. Where Microsoft, your stuff is your stuff is your stuff. It's secure. Does that make sense? And we have Copilot Studio, which all the automations that are out there, they just launched 2 weeks ago, an app builder inside Copilot and a workflow builder. To where if you can plain language explain the steps you want to automate, it will build the automation for you and you can just say go and it's done. So now what have we done? We've enabled the desktop person, the productivity person that's get the work done to build their own automations without hiring a software engineer. Reduce cost, time saving, productivity gained, just from revealing what they already own. Does that make sense?
Sorry, it might be on your website, but I couldn't load it, and I wanted to make sure I was focusing on you. Do you have case studies or testimonials on there that help kind of illustrate better kind of those questions like we're asking?
You'll see testimonials of people who've been through the training and what they've learned and how it's impacted their life. Person we did last night or on Monday, sales guy, gave him one prompt, said use this particular prompt. He used that prompt. And what it did, he said, well, how long would that have taken you without this prompt? 6 hours. Well, how long did it take you otherwise? 15 minutes. What was the result? $12,000 deal that he's able to close. 6 hours to 15 minutes equals $12,000 based on a prompt. So the ROI is there. And again, people are afraid of it. They don't understand it. They don't know how to use it. They think it's going to replace them. A lot of business owners are trying to replace employees with it, when if they just enable their employees to use it, they can 10x their companies overnight. Does that make sense?
Perfect. While I'm walking, let me ask you this. So if I'm answering an email, like I have a program I send out, let's say a video to somebody, and then once they open that video and watch it, it prompts me and says, hey, so-and-so watch this video. So is there a way to program this that when that email comes in, I could prompt it based on the email, because it'll include their phone number and email inside of that? Can I prompt this to go, hey, what'd you like best about?
Based on that workflow app I just explained a second ago, you can automate it. So when that email comes in with that subject line, it will automatically read it, write your response, and trigger actions on your behalf. So if the way you described it to me, you can describe it to the workflow builder, and it will do that for you. Now, I'm saying it very simply. You got to massage it. You got to train it. But still, you're not having to call some software engineer to write all this stuff out and test it. If you can think it, it can happen.
Question: I work in the hotel industry. Could a company like Marriott outsource you as an AI?
Absolutely.
Because I think that would be the ideal scenario. You know, they have somebody troubleshooting, making sure that the system is in place and is used correctly.
And that's the bigger play for this business model and the scale part of scaling, is teaching this methodology and certifying people to then take it to other organizations.
Certification, that's the name.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we want to validate it, prove it, show the ROI, show that before we go into that world.
Okay, last question.
So to help a little with your ask, can you tell us about what has been your most successful driver for your for the workshops you've been doing, and then what sort of target market and groups do you need to get in front of to make that scale more?
My most successful group has been 1 million cups, honestly. I've been to Claremont, I've been to Eustis, and here's my third presentation. In January, I'll be going to Daytona, and Alicia and Rob introduced me to 1 million cups, and I came, and I took the advice Jim gave the first time I sat in this room and said, you need to go to all 5 chapters, present, get feedback, and it will help you. And I'm on number 3, and every time I've gotten some good advice that's helped me go through there. To answer your other question about target market, where I'm seeing the most success are real estate companies. I've got a nonprofit we're talking to, where these companies, they don't want to get sucked into another software application, right? In the supply chain world, we have Oracle and we have SAP and PeopleSoft. These are $1 million applications that basically became electronic paperweights because the user didn't know how to use the technology. We're starting from, you already got it. It's sitting on your desktop. We're going to get the user, show them how to use it. Now you can be more productive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He's had his hand up a couple times. So.
Oh,
So
okay.
real estate companies meaning like residential sales or
Commercial real estate.
commercial real estate? Okay.
I've talked to several of those, and we're getting the proposal out there. And what a lot of times they hesitate is like, well, can you give me use case studies? Can you show me who's doing this right now? And I'm like, nobody's talking about AI the way I'm talking about AI. They're trying to get you to buy an application and lock you in, and I'm like, you already got it.
Yeah,
Let me show it to you. Does that make sense?
absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, Randy, thank you for your service. Just a suggestion, and as you're going through the different chapters, I would think that including what you just told us on the things that you do around security, around structure, around, programming the teams, this is what I do, and help you. That will probably help your presentation and avoid a lot of the questions too.
Okay.
That's fantastic what you're doing. So, and love to talk to you later because there's a lot of synergies in what I'm doing and what
Okay,
you're
good.
doing as well.
I'd love to talk to you. Yeah,
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. All right, so what can we as the Orlando chapter of 1 Million Cups do to help you?
The main thing is education right now. So the more groups I can get in front of like this and just share the opportunity to move people from AI confusion to AI execution using the AI they already own, that inspires the conversations with the bigger organizations that lead to the bigger deals. So if you have a business group, a chamber, a real estate group, anyone where you've got butts in seats, I'll be happy to come educate and we can move from there.
One more thing, you should really go to major hotel companies, reservation systems, purchasing, millions and billions of dollars.
Okay.
Marriott has almost 10,000 hotels. It's the biggest hotel company in the world. Imagine you get your foot in the door.
Please,
The door will never close.
I'll take the introduction, please. Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know a lot about AI, but I think it could become a huge game changer for people that have to do the labor every single day.
Correct.
You know, so.
And that's where I see the blue ocean, right?
Right.
They're not looking at the desktop user. They're trying to replace a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. Execution.
And I think too, like we talked about earlier, is join some form of a networking group or a leads group where you can go in and get to meet people, do a presentation for them to help them better understand what you do. And then that will lead to that introductions, maybe even doing business in their companies and other things like that. So, yeah,
Awesome.
definitely, that's a great resource. But that's one of those things that you have to stick with it. You know, you can't show up and, hey, I'm the greatest thing to AI here, go for 2 weeks and you, hi, how are you? And everybody else disappears because they didn't get what they were looking for.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because we became a partner with a major company that does a lot of software development that has multiple vendors. And they're like, Randy, you're making introductions, you're bringing all these companies in. Wow, you're just doing such a great. It's like, you weren't here for the last 6 months. So you're absolutely right. You got to be committed. You got to execute. You got to show up and do the work.
Focus on decision maker.
Yeah.
That's it. That's where it starts. Visionary decision maker. Looks like you have to. That's where it starts. Most of the businesses fail because of at that time.
Okay.
They are the modernists. They
Okay.
don't have the vision. So you can be testing. I have a couple of people I've introduced you.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. All right.
Very good.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks again. Very good.
All right.
Get back.
You know, speaking of that overnight sensation thing, there's a clip I've seen of Sheryl Crow recently that she said, I busted my butt for 15 years to become an overnight sensation. You know, Jeff Bezos said, most people take about 10 years to become an overnight sensation. For me, it took 17 years and 10 months. So, you know, things don't happen like that, and contrary to what a lot of our kids probably think, well, yeah, but I can get everything I want on the stupid phone like that. It's like life doesn't happen that way. You need to have a little bit of patience and relax and just stay focused and figure out what your daily disciplines are. What are the things you need to do every single day to get you where you want to get to? You're going to run into times where you feel like you're banging your head against the wall because the results aren't quite happening. There's a story, and this is a true story, but there was a gentleman, this was back like in the 1800s, who had staked a claim to a gold mine in Colorado. And he went in, he worked it, got little bits, but not what he was hoping for. And he basically ended up selling everything that he owned and the piece of property for pennies on the dollar. The guy who bought it started working, and literally within about 60 to 90 days, struck the largest gold vein that they have ever discovered in this country. And the amazing thing, or the sad thing, depending on what perspective you're at, is it was only 3 feet away in the rock from where the guy stopped digging. So you never know where you need to go or what you need to do. There's another great story about that, about a guy in that he was a farmer, owned a large area of land, and he saw all of the other farmers and people around that were selling their property because these companies, these diamond companies, were coming in and buying their property. And he was like, well, there's got to be something better somewhere. And so he sold his property and he went out and just started looking around to try to find gold or diamonds somewhere else. And the new owner happened to be in the house one day. Some guy came to the door, knocked on the door, and he sat down and they were talking, and he noticed this stone that was sitting up on the fireplace on the mantle. And he asked the man, where did you get this? Oh, he said, in the stream that runs through the backyard. They're all over the place. That stone happened to turn into being the Hope Diamond. Okay? It was just an uncut, unpolished stone. He went out and he showed him where he found these diamonds. They were littered everywhere. He ended up selling that to De Beers. It's the largest gold mine that's ever been found in this country. And the guy who left never did anything because he left. He didn't know what he was looking for, never bothered to have people look. So it's important for us as entrepreneurs to remember that we need to keep focused. We need to stay where we want to go. Focus on your vision. Focus on that goal. What is it you need? And don't be mistaken by, well, I've got all of these things, you know, like Randy mentioned, just focus on one prompt at a time. Well, the same thing in building your dream, building your business, building that goal. What's the most important thing that you need to get done right now? Put that down and focus on it. Okay? Now, you guys, I'm sure you guys have all heard of SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound. Well, I've changed that to SMARTer goals. The ER is you need to evaluate what you've done, because if you don't go back and look at what got you to where you are, if you don't track what we would call lead measures, which are that day-to-day activity, what did I do to get these results? They don't teach that in school. What do they teach you in school? Well, what's the bottom line on the P&L say, right? Big difference. You need to know what was it, what was the activity that got me where I wanted to go. And the R is reward yourself. People forget about that. When you set a goal and you hit a certain goal, have a reward tied to the end of it. You know, and depending on what the goal you want to accomplish is, would determine what that reward would be. Make it something that's comparable and worthy of your time. So that's important to know. The other thing I want to share with you is a topic that I've been really learning a lot about. And I think it's something that impacts all of us, especially as entrepreneurs, but even just in general as human beings. How many times have you thought about wanting to achieve a goal, or like in Randy's case, I want to meet somebody from Marriott, right? I want to meet, that's my goal, I want to do that. So inside of our head, we have that, I want to meet somebody from Marriott that can help me integrate what I need. But in the back of your head, you're going, I don't know if that can ever really happen. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that, right? No good is right. It's what's known as a double binding message. We're saying, hey, I want this. I don't know if I can really get there. We self-sabotage ourselves without even realizing it. And I learned that back when I first got doing what I'm doing now. I had been, I think, about 7 months working, and I was busting my butt, and I just wasn't getting the results I want. And we happened to be on a cruise with some friends of ours and my friend Liz, and I said to her, we're getting off the cruise ship, and I said to her, I go, Liz, I need to spend a little time with you. I got to talk with you. And she goes, okay, start talking. So here I am walking down the streets of Nassau, talking with Liz, and I'm just pouring my eyes out for about 20 minutes. And she stops me and goes, Jim, this is simple. You're self-sabotaging yourself. I said, what? She goes, you're self-sabotaging yourself. Can this happen? Well, realistically, no. Can that happen? No. Okay, and what happens if it did? I don't know. Well, this is what would happen. So is that really a problem? No. Okay, so stop it. Okay? Sometimes, and that's where this can be of value to all of us, because if you get to know somebody and you have that coffee together and you have a chance to get to know each other, and hey, this is what's really bothering me. Okay, this is where I'm having trouble. Maybe you can help me. Don't be afraid to do that. That's what we're here for, is to be able to share with each other what our struggles are. What are we having problems with? All right? And then that way, somebody else from the outside looking in can say, well, here's where you're struggling. This is what I see. Okay? And learn about that. But I'm going to give you 2 really good podcasts to listen to, because they go right one together. So I've told you before about the 7-figure standard, number 7-figure standard with Raj Khashoggi. Episode 3 talks about thinking from the inside out, not outside in. How many times do we let the outside circumstances that are happening out here dictate the decisions that we do here? Okay? That's the wrong way of doing things. You need to, it's like I share with my daughter, okay? She's 18, she's going to college. Oh, but Dad, I've got to look perfect. And, you know, it's like, Jada, it's not your, you don't have any concern about what somebody else is thinking about you. They're going to think about that if you look perfect or not. People are that way. You need to know in here what it is that's helping you in here. How do you feel about yourself? That's the most important thing, right? How do you feel about yourself? Not what somebody thinks about me. So as we think about what's inside, how are we going to portray that image of what we want? What do we want to be? Where do we want to go with our goals, our dreams? What does that person look like? Would you make different decisions today if you were that person in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now? Would that person that you want to be make different decisions than you do today? And the answer obviously is yes. So thinking inside out is going to help you think like this person. Start acting as if. My friend Eric always told me, he said, you need to make decisions as if, you have to think to yourself, especially before you go into a sales meeting, I'm independently wealthy and I don't need this piece of business, right? Because if you've got the money, you don't care. What happens if you're struggling and you need this to close because you've got to pay rent or you got to pay your mortgage? You're going to act different that way versus I'm this person. I'm independently wealthy and I don't need this piece of business. You'll act different. You'll come off different to the person that you're talking to. So episode 3 talks about thinking from the inside out, and number 5 talks about double binding messages, episode 5. And the thing that I'm going to highly, highly, highly encourage all of you to do is they, at the end of all of their podcasts, they share an action step. You know, 1 or 2 things you need to do to take action, to work on, to apply what you learned. And listen to that message a number of times. Take notes. I mean, the information that this guy sends out is absolutely incredible. Okay? And he's one of the best that I've been able to encounter. He worked, just a little quick background, he had been Bob Proctor, right? You guys know who Bob Proctor is. Yep. So he was Bob Proctor's right-hand man. And then when Bob passed away, Araj took over Proctor Co. for a couple years, and then somebody else came in, and he started Voss Coaching Co. But the funny thing is, when he was introduced to Bob's, he had just lost his job. He was making a couple $100,000 a year. He was $150,000 in debt. And he was getting married in about 3 weeks. And somebody invited him to go to see Bob Proctor. He had no idea who Bob Proctor was. He sat in the front, and he said, Bob asked me this question, and he said it's like he was talking right at me. And he said it hit me here, and he said I knew I could go out and get another job, but I realized that I needed to be able to help people with what Bob was doing. I saw that as my mission and my vision. His name again? A-R-A-S-H, Araj Vassoghi, V-O-S-S-O-U-G-H-I. And so he said, I knew that Bob, when Bob was talking to me, I knew that was going to happen. And he went up and he got introduced to Bob, and he told him his story, and Bob looked at him and goes, does your fiance know? Right? But that changed his life. Today, the guy makes over $10 million a year. He's one of the most requested personal development coaches because he is really next level to a lot of the guys that are out there. Okay? I mean, really next level. He's got his things, when you sit there and listen to him, it'll make you go, oh my gosh. Or he'll put something in, like a double binding message that we don't think about. We don't think that we're self-sabotaging ourselves, but he'll talk about that in such a way that makes you go, oh my gosh, I'm doing that, right? I'm sabotaging myself. So that's my suggestion for you guys today. And if you have not started working on what you want to have so that you can hit the ground running on January 1st, I highly encourage you to start that today. Start working on what is your most important thing. And if you haven't hit your goals yet for this year, that's okay. Keep running. Even if you don't think you're going to hit it, keep running. It's important that you do that. Finish the year strong. You know, we tend to want to give up and quit, and people aren't going to do anything for me. But my most successful week of the year is between Christmas and New Year. And it always has been in every business I've worked in. And if you keep that effort going right into the first of the year, you'll launch. The first part of your year will make a whole entire difference on what next year could look like for you. So that's the most important thing. Okay? So thank you very much, Randy, for what you did. And we have our sponsors that we have that are here. Angela is Trilogy Leaders. So she's a great person to go have a cup of coffee with. John Swanson, the real estate detective. Rupert's not here. Donut Central provides our donuts, and Salai Coffee provides the coffee. If you're looking for a workspace, someplace where you can get a lot of resources and not spend an arm and a leg, go talk to our girl back here, Miss Kelly. Okay, she'll help you with that. There's a great opportunity there for everybody. And then I do the Legal Shield through the consulting and stuff through the Alifat agency. And I'm happy to announce my daughter decided to start working with me. Isn't that amazing? She's starting to realize that working for somebody else isn't what it's cracked up to be. Because they're supposed to have me work. They're calling me. I'm on my way to work. They're telling me I can't come in. I'm like, welcome to W2 world. So anyway, like, follow, and share on all of the social media. Post some pictures for us on what we do, and send me some stills or stuff. I'll post them out there on social media as well. See, the new AI, right? Is that cool? That's better than that old thing we had. But there we go. Our organizers, if you're on the organizing committee, I know not all of us are here today, but all right, if you have any questions about how do you want to get started, what do you need to do, come see us. We'll be happy to help.
The AI turned my beard green.
It did what? Yeah, but it is gray. Well, Denny, see, you know, Denny too, that's an old picture of Denny. That was probably taken 20 years ago.
Yeah, the whole still 30 seconds.
Connect with someone and find a local coffee shop. Go have a cup of coffee. There's a great little place right across through the tunnel called Coffee for the Soul. And they've got I love this coffee in there. It's called a lilac latte. It is just so unique. It's really good stuff. But there's what, how many, Eric, coffee shops? 300?
250, 280.
280 independent coffee shops, right? The big guys get enough already. Go support a small coffee shop. Attend, apply, prepare, and present. So why do we come attend? See what you can learn here. See who you can meet. Help yourself grow your business. Apply to present. Get prepared. One of the things that we do is that we will work with you to help you go through the presentation, make sure you're not missing things. Did it help you when we talked? So different things that you might not think about, okay? So make sure that we'll help you with that, and then come in and present. Did you get any good feedback today?
I did.
Okay, what's the best thing you heard today?
To start looking for the Marriott guy.
You have to, believe me, you will not regret it.
So,
The point there is, that's an example of the kind of opportunities, really. Stop looking here, start looking there.
right.
You know
Well,
why? Because the people company, through and through. As long as Mr. Barrett is alive,
yeah,
people are very important to the company.
yeah, exactly.
22 years from now.
And something else, speaking of that, that may be a good thing to follow up in. A lot of times you can go to like restaurant shows or the Hotel Right Association, join some of those associations. We had a presenter here, Carolina and Oliver, a couple weeks ago, right, with the freeze-dried fruit and stuff. She had gone to a food show up in New York with wholesalers. She was introduced to the head of Kroger, the lady who did all the buying with Kroger, and also the Meyer company out of New York, out of Michigan. And the funny thing is, I don't think she shared this, but the funny thing is, she said, that lady told her, I really like what you're doing, but we like to source stuff out of Michigan. She said, well, I was working with Frito-Lay, and I was, or not Frito-Lay, I was working with Dow, and I was in Michigan when I had this problem, and I realized, and she goes, we can work with that. So you never know. She just ended up having dinner with these people and started talking, and they asked her questions, and that, okay? And in a year, she's gone from struggling just starting to they just got their first shipment of product a couple weeks ago from South America. We helped them with the importing, exporting through the Entrepreneur Association, okay? So we're here to help. That's what this is all about.
Could you repeat the process for the presenting? I'd like to present.
Okay, we'll talk about that after, okay? This is our schedule for the next couple weeks. So next week, we've got two presenters here. We have a speaker on the 17th. On the 17th, what we're going to do is we're going to do an extra little bit longer socializing. And if you would like to bring in something special to share, do that so we can have something other than donuts. Bernd brought in some cool stuff the last time we did this, but it'll be fun, and we'll do something in that little bit of extra time. Eric?
One of our speakers canceled. He's moving to January. So if anybody wants to take that spot next week, we are open.
Okay.
I want to take the spot.
All right, then we'll talk about that after.
I've been receiving emails saying to schedule, but I cannot find the.
Okay, we'll talk about that after, okay? Eric will help you get that done, okay? On the 24th, obviously, we don't have anything. On the 31st, we need a speaker. No, actually, I think, Lynn, you're doing the 31st still? Mm-hmm. Yes, so we have a speaker on the 31st. She's launched a new app, which we're going to go talk about after, which I'm excited to really get into. So she's worked really hard at what she's been doing, so great stuff. And then January 7th, we'll need a couple of new speakers to kick off the year. Okay, so we've got one, so we'll need one other speaker to kick off the year, okay? Next week, we've got a company called Help Me Law, which is all AI generated. Help, Kibbe Medical. He's the guy who's canceled?
He moved to January 15th.
Okay, so we'll move him out of there, and we'll talk after and get you on here for next week. So I present marketing and brand awareness equals exposure, practice and feedback equals growth, create strategic partnerships, hiring and retaining talent, and get to know you experience. If you want to present, that's the website to go in. You'll see along the top on the menu, it said present. You have to fill out some information. Eric will get notified of that, and then we'll start that process of getting you hooked in. Okay, and once we get a date down, then we'll work you through some coaching. You'll receive a rubric on things that you should put together for your presentation and make sure that the process is correct. Thank you so much for being here. Our thought for the day, fortunes gravitate to men whose minds have been prepared to attract them, just as surely as water gravitates to the ocean. This also works for those who set their minds on poverty. Napoleon Hill. If you've never read the book Think and Grow Rich, I highly recommend you to read that book. It is like the journal, the manual on things to do. It's a college course, literally, in a book. And the thing I loved doing about that was reading it and then listening to it on Audible. It's incredible how much more that can help absorb into your stuff. But he talks about things like, he doesn't call it double binding messages, but he talks about stuff like that back from the 1920s. Jane?
Where do you get this?
At the library. You come see our good friend Jane Tracy back here, and if you need any help with anything there, she will be more than happy to help you. She is the rock star in the world of librarians. Okay?
Just want to make that connection between books and libraries. Thank you.
All right. Have a great week, and I'll see you all next week.